Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi. You are the cosmos, and I am also the cosmos. You are Dalia Gencher, I believe. How are you?
I'm really well.
That's good.
I'm really good.
This is awkward. We're made of stars all of a sudden.
All of a sudden.
All of a sudden.
Debatable.
Yeah. So, and you're a Vedic astrologer as well.
Yes.
And what else are you?
I'm a Vedic meditator.
Oh, yes.
And I am a Sattva yoga teacher.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The old Sattva.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a kinesiologist by trade or by study.
Yes. Yes.
But that's also debatable.
How old are you?
I'm 26.
Right. So how did you become 8 things by 26?
I never stopped studying.
I get it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mm.
Still not done.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So how did you become spiritual? Tell us a story.
Yeah, sure.
Mm.
I think I was drawn to something my whole life. I didn't know what. I used to read up on quantum physics and the parallels of God when I was so young. I used to stay home in summer and like read about the nature of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And my whole life I was kind of obsessed with India, and had never been, and didn't really know why I was so obsessed, but I just loved it. And when I finished my first degree, I went over there.
Which one was this? Which degree was this?
This was a BA in theatre studies.
Does that mean badass?
Yeah, that's exactly what it means.
Badass theatre studies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I went over there, and some guy I met on the plane told me to go see the satsang with Prem Baba. And
Who's this?
Prem Baba is, his whole school is the path of love, awaken heart. And he's Portuguese, but he was giving satsang at that it's called Satchadam Ashram in Rishikesh.
I'll pretend that I know what you're talking about.
Yes. Yeah, he's been in a bit of trouble recently.
Has he?
Yeah.
Not another one. Another fallen guru. God damn it. Was he being handsy as well?
Can't help it.
Is that what it was? Was it handsiness?
Yeah.
It's always their downfall, isn't it? You know, if gurus didn't have penises, they'd be fine.
A unique guru.
That's right. That's what we need more of.
Yeah. But yeah, some guy on the plane was like
Bill Shorten.
I don't actually know what that
That's
is.
fine.
Yeah, so this guy told me to go see Prem Baba, and he's like, when I went, I was like, what is this bullshit? And then I walked in there, and all these women were crying right away, and I was like, what are these hippie freaks? Like, yes, I'm into spirituality, but what is this? And then he said 2 minutes into Prem Baba talking, he was there sobbing. And I was like, okay, yeah, shut up, whatever.
Yes.
And then, of course, I went to the satsang, and same thing, the music started, and this kirtan, and he walked in, and these women were just sobbing, and I was like, oh, fuck, here we go.
I better cry too. And
he opened his mouth, and I just sobbed. It's something in the presence triggered something, and that mumukshutva, like that longing in the heart, just felt like, oh my God, this is what I've been looking for my whole life. And I was already like on the yogic path, I'd been practicing and everything, but the real work hadn't really begun yet.
Yeah.
And then my mum was actually in India with me, and I brought her the next day, and I was sitting there, and there were all these dahlia flowers around him, and it was very kind of, cosmically synchronous. Yeah. And she just turned to me, and she was like, I get it. And I was like, yeah. And, it was just kind of confirmed from all angles, and it just felt like the most familiar thing in the world. You know, when you hear truth, you're like, oh yes, of course, I've always known this.
Yes. So this was Prem Baba.
That was Prem Baba. Yeah. But ironically, that trip, that first day, I was standing on just before Lakshmanjula Bridge, and if you look across, there's the yoga sign. And leading up to going on that first trip, I was obsessed with living a sattvic life. I heard this term, and I was like, that is how one should live. And I saw this sign, and it says sattva, and I was like, oh, that's what I've been learning about. Foreshadowing, you know, to what was actually only 6 months later. I met Anand, my guru, who is the founder of Sattva Yoga, and that was his center. Yes. That I had seen and went, oh, that's it. Yeah. And yeah. Yeah.
And so, so once you had this kind of, would you call it an awakening at Prem Baba's ashram, or what is this? What inexperienced? Is everywhere Prem Baba goes, women cry? Is that tied into it?
I feel like Prem Baba, it wasn't Prem Baba, as like all due respect to him. Yes. But the presence of that unity kind of consciousness, seeing that, feeling it, being in the sphere. Yes. Was something. It kind of coincided because I was a Vedic meditator for a few years before that. But I learnt from a woman who had sort of strayed from the tradition, and she didn't do puja.
Are you going to leak her name on this podcast?
Don't know. You know who you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was 19 and learnt, and
with no puja?
No puja.
How do you feel about that now?
Well, it was the most bizarre experience of my life. I was going crazy. I'm stressing, but no one around me was meditating. My family was like, please stop, you're going crazy. And I was like, I know, but I know I need to keep doing this. I couldn't make sense of it. Yeah. If I keep going, I know it'll get better. And then eventually it just became too much, and I stopped.
Tell us a little bit about the going crazy business. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I booked a flight back to Canada to go work on a farm. I used to live there when I was younger, and I had no interest going back, and all of a sudden I was like going to Vancouver to volunteer on some farm, and I didn't want to. It was just...
Did you get there? Did you go?
No, I didn't go. No, this was part of the going crazy, running circles, searching for... Not searching, just not even knowing what to do. A lot of anger.
How much were you meditating?
20 minutes twice a day.
Just 20 minutes twice a day. That's it.
It's enough to send you off your rocker.
Yeah, right. Well, you know.
But
especially if you don't do puja.
So I eventually stopped after about 6 months of going too crazy. And then a good friend of ours, the beloved Jeff Rupp, went and did his initiator training. And he taught my brother. And my brother Max had this blissful experience, and I was like, what? And then my parents, who had been like, Dalia, please stop meditating, you're going crazy, all of a sudden learned. Yeah. And I was like, guys, I was telling you about this for years, and you told me to stop. What's going on? And so I kind of started to sit with them again and sit down and meditate, but I was still in this really dark experience. And my brother said, why don't you go talk to Jeff? And first thing Jeff says is, well, what happened when you did puja? And I was like, oh, I never did that. And I was like, stop right there, go downstairs, get me flowers for doing puja. And he totally reinitiated me on the spot.
On the spot.
And ever since then, it's
worked out all right.
Being blissful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. I don't know how we got there, but...
Yeah, we just wanted to find out how you went crazy and how you got out of being crazy.
Yeah. Jeff Rupp.
Jeff Rupp. Nice. Yeah. And so then how did you find your guru, your Bhagavad guru?
Funny, I was reading around the same time that Jeff reinitiated me, going on that India trip. I was reading Autobiography of a Yogi, And I just remember reading it going, oh my God. And the deepest prayer in my heart is to one day learn Kriya Yoga. How am I ever going to come across this thing, let alone have a guru?
Where's your accent come from?
Born here, lived in Canada for 12 years, and then I've been back here for 10 years. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So a bit of a mix.
Yeah, comes and goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Dad's Canadian, mum's Aussie. Yeah, comes and goes.
So you were looking for your Shri.
Yeah,
Guru.
Shri.
Yes.
Who loves Shri? Everything is Shri for him. But reading this book, I just remember being like, well, how in the world would I ever receive that? You know, and just mystified by the whole experience of reading that book. And then went to India, saw all this stuff. I did some yoga training there, came home, and then Jeff, who had taught us to meditate, called me up one day and he's like, Dolls, I'm bringing out this really cool guy, and if you help me organize it, like, you can have a reading with him, you can have a session. And I was like, that's like all I've ever been fascinated by it, astrology and you know, what I now know as the Vedic sciences. Yeah, of course, I'll do anything. And I just kind of helped him put some flyers out and cooked some dal with Just Chev. And next thing I know, I was, you know, sitting across from this guy, and I had no idea while it was happening the impact that was going to have on my life. But I sat down with him and he told me some things, and I applied everything he taught me. And then I saw him again a year later, and my whole life had completely changed.
Here again or there?
Here.
Yeah.
Both times he had come to Australia, and Jeff had brought him out. And I saw him again, and that was when I realized the impact that one moment had. I did exactly what he kind of shared with me, and it changed the trajectory of everything. And in that same trip, he was having a retreat up here, and on the first night of the retreat, I had this really powerful dream of me just kind of being at his feet, and he was opening up in this dream, he was opening up this book that was the universe. And he was just sharing the secrets of the universe with me. Wow. And from that point, I just knew this was my teacher. And then, and you know, they say you don't choose the guru when you're ready, he appears. And or she. And I just knew that was the moment.
In your dream?
In my dream.
Wow. Profound.
Yeah.
So what did you do about it?
Well, I carried on with the retreat, you know, and that was really beautiful. My brother and my mom were.
Wait, where was the retreat?
Up here in the
right. I was like, where am I? I forgot where it was.
It's either here or Rishikesh.
Yeah.
But the half of my family was on that retreat, and we all had really powerful experiences. And on the last day, I was saying goodbye to Anand, and I was like, oh, you know, I think I'm gonna come. I think I'm coming to your center. And he just laughed. And he's like, yeah. I was like, oh, I don't really have a choice, do I? And he's like, no. And then, rest is history.
Yes. Vedic knowledge.
Yeah.
So what's it like to have this is going to be like spiritual porn for my listeners.
Yeah.
What's it like to have a spiritually supportive family?
It's mega.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm only realizing now that actually not everyone had parents who were like, yeah, you want to go to India? I'll go with you.
Yeah.
You know, even my dad, who grew up not religious, but his family was quite observant, and at first he was like, oh, you know, like, what are you doing, puja, like praying to these idols? And now he's got Shiva on his night table. Yeah. And he's rocking his mala. And I think my brother and I were always really drawn, and I think my parents would probably say we kind of led the way for them. But to have them on board,
it must be nice to be able to have that unity experience with the divine and with your family at the same time.
It's big. It's big. Like all the
you imagine that, like, you're having this experience, and you're trying to explain to somebody, and if they don't get it, then it's like, well, you're different, and you're, I don't understand you, and you're weird. But if the people that you love the most are able to understand that, it's kind of like nice. It's very nice.
It's very nice. The most kind of I guess friction around that we would have is like if I'm doing pranayama, or I was in my room, and my little brother would be like, can you stop with that breathing this early?
What time were you doing pranayama at?
Maybe Brahma Muhurat. Right. Something. First light. But it's I realize the blessing that is. I really do.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And so you were a BA.
Yeah.
And then what is kinesiology? How did you get into that business?
I think
you said it was questionable though, so was it just like you just Googled some stuff?
Yeah. Because I was a dancer, and that's when the BA in arts and stuff came into being.
When you were younger, right?
Yeah, and then up until until I was 20.
Yes.
And then when I kind of got away from that industry, that's when the yoga thing came in as kind of like a replacement.
People say that they'll do dancing and then they're like looking for that movement and connection.
Yes. Yeah. Half the teachers I know used to be dancers.
Yeah.
Thank God for that. But so I was always interested in that somatic mind-body connection. And when I had that first meeting with Anand, I told him I was still needing to study. There was something I wanted to learn, and he kind of said, it doesn't really matter what you study. You're not really going to go that route anyway, but you need to be studying the next few years, and you need, that kind of qualification makes sense in the Western world, unfortunately. But and I was working with a kinesiologist, and I found it so powerful, and the ability to help someone move through their conditioning and belief patterns and that kind of thing. I was like, oh, this is it. And so I started studying that. And it's wonderful. It's such an amazing modality. But then when I learned Kriya Yoga, the power was so tenfold that I couldn't deny it. I couldn't be practicing kinesiology, doing that with people when I knew in my heart there's this technique that if you do, you can actually heal this in yourself. You don't need to come to me. Let me teach you a few breath practices. Like, go get a mantra.
Yeah.
And you don't need this. I think it's like, no disrespect to any kinesiologist. It's such an amazing modality, and it played such a part in my journey. Yeah. But
you do what you think is most powerful.
Some people, they'll go to a teacher as far as that teacher can take them, and then and I think that's kind of what's happened with this. Yeah.
And so what about Jyotish?
Yeah.
Your eyes light up with that one.
My favorite thing in the world. Yeah. The cosmos.
All right, I got a question, because I have a friend.
Yeah.
Who
asking for a friend.
Yeah, I'm asking for a friend. No, I am. She wants to be, like, deep down, she wants to be a Vedic astrologer, but she doesn't believe that she's going to be able to understand it all and to get it.
Yes, so the knowledge is not anything you need to get. It's who you are, really. Yeah, the cosmos is this macrocosm for our microcosm. Every single planet is each chakra. We use the 7 planets that correspond with, the 7 chakras along the human spine, and they manifest, they hold the energy that sits there in your being. So if you go inward, if you know yourself, it's like it speaks to you. I think a lot of people, I mean, that I studied with and think about it, including myself, how am I ever going to be able to, you know, do this? It's actually just who you are.
Yes.
Yeah. I think studying it and practicing it is as huge for, you know, maybe even bigger for my own spiritual growth and understanding as anyone I'm doing a reading for.
So how much study do you have to do, or do you have to do, or is it just like a lifetime study?
Still going.
Yeah.
You
can just keep going deeper and deeper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way that Anand taught us was so comprehensive, so holistic, so present on so many levels. You know, we were doing yagya for every planet. We were doing practices, clear practices to embody it, to connect to where that is in our, we were, you know, doing the science, the logic behind it, and his transmission. And we're still ongoing with him every month, and gonna go back in September, you know, if it all lifts, and do another month or so with him at his center. And
does Vedic astrology have anything to say about what's going on right now?
Yeah, of course.
You going to talk about it?
It's so funny when people say that. It's like, what, you know, what
did it have a holiday or something?
What did Vedic astrology have to say? It's like, look, whatever's going on is what the cosmos is saying. Like, it's, you know, but we're in a huge Rashi, a collective lead up to quite an amazing alignment. Come September and toward the end of the year, the planets are going to be, everything's kind of going to, like, the stars really align. Yeah, every planet goes into its own house, goes into the point that's sort of most comfortable. And when that happens, so, you know, there's so much potential for spiritual evolvement and for what comes with that. And so it's like this mass collective upgrade about to happen, and it's being sort of squeezed through the funnel or the pressure cooker onto the other side. There's reasons why it manifested as this like widespread disease, and why there's hysteria, and you know, the form that the Rashi took, that you can see in the stars, but the grander reason is to get people back to aligning with nature. You know, to cut the shit, cut the conditioning, and evolve.
Right. Good answer. There are some people that have the materialistic perspective that it's just a disease and yous are all hippie bullshit talking about it being a bigger picture. The people that don't want to see the bigger picture, right?
Everything happening for all reasons.
I know that people can't understand that. It's like too much. It's like, no, it must be just some small reason, isolated from everything else. No.
All the planets are between the two nodes of the moon, which are Rahu and Ketu.
I knew that. Didn't know that at all. Yeah.
And it's kind of the karmic dragon, the head and tail of karma, action that binds, right? And so when all the planets are sort of sandwiched between this, in the stars, it's a real intensified experience, and the whole point is to break through the karma. As soon as you realize your divinity, you realize your own nature, you're free of that karmic kind of soup. And that's what's happening now. It's everyone in this pressure cooker, so that you have to do the work to break through it.
Beautiful. How is Vedic astrology different from your regular newspaper horoscope?
Well, one is an ancient science designed for self-realizations.
Yes.
The other, no. So just like, you know, just like mantra, just like yoga, pranayama, all this stuff comes from the Vedic text. You know, Vastu, all these things, Jyotish is just a part of the Veda. And the calculations are slightly different. So we do take into account the axis of the earth. So the measurements will be quite different. What you know as your ascendant might change, those kinds of things. The use of nakshatras, the 27 smaller lunar mansions or smaller constellations that provide a real richness of flavor, aren't included in Western. And you know, if your moon is in Cancer, but the degree is off, it will fall into a completely different nakshatra, and that can completely change the personality of that. So we use that layer, and I think really the purpose of Jyotish, or the intention, is the purpose of life. It's to celebrate and liberate. And I think that is the deepest difference. You know, we're not interested in telling the future. I'm actually not interested in what's in your chart, because if you upgrade your state of consciousness, your whole chart changes. I'm interested in evolution. You know, the chart that's just the starting point. So I think that's, from my experience, the biggest kind of difference.
Yes. So just to clarify, if you're not interested in the chart, why do you read it?
You read it to go beyond it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, to see where you're bound, to see where you need to evolve. You know, Anand's chart said he was meant to die at 27. He's still kicking ass.
Wrong chart.
Yeah.
So what about the full moon coming up tomorrow? Or is it today? I don't know.
Yes. It's Thursday. What are we on now? Wednesday. Yeah.
ISO days.
Yeah. In Vishaka Nakshatra. So when it's in Vishaka, the moon is
Vish, like Vishnu?
Yeah, Vishaka.
Vishaka.
Yeah.
What's the aka mean?
Well, I don't know.
Like chakra? Chakra? I don't know. Who knows?
But that falls in Scorpio. In Scorpio sign, and you know, that's when the moon is what we call debilitated. And this is also another sort of myth to dispel. People think, oh, if something's debilitated, it's weak, or it's there's trouble there, or there's karma there. You know, Maharishi had like 4 or 5 planets debilitated. And what it just means is the expression is a slightly more subtle, kind of humble expression, an embodied holding. So if someone's not refining their consciousness, what that might look like is emotional turmoil. Yeah. In this particular moon, it's about going inward. Yeah, it's the debilitation of the moon is a softening of the moon, which is the mind, which is our flow of consciousness. So we're wanting to really pull inward in this time.
How much more inward can I go, though?
Well, Scorpio is deep. Scorpio is like, you have to dig and dig and dig to touch water. But you'll find what comes out of this particular one is an essence of creativity. So it's yes, it's going in to transcend, but there's, at this time, there's a lot of kind of creative flow underneath that level, that if you go in now, that's kind of what you'll crack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
You don't even need to like do too much about what comes up there. Now's not the time to really go, oh, there's what I've been looking for, let me put all my action. It's kind of like you just need to see it and it will unfold in this period.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Do you have a favorite spiritual wisdom or quote?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah. In the Ramayana, when Hanuman says to Lord Rama, oh, it gets me every time. When I don't know who I am, I serve you. When I know who I am you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I like that one.
That's my fave.
It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
cool.
What's yours?
Beautiful. Mine's practice and always coming.
Okay.
Yeah. That's in
Yeah.
Singapore.
Yeah.
It was one of the first.
And all this
Yeah.
kind of-
All is coming. All is coming. It was one of the first like spiritual quotes that I saw in a yoga class,
Yeah.
and I was like, that makes sense. Yeah, like just practice.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
Do you have any other ones? Any spare ones? You got any Anand quotes that you like?
The first thing that came to my mind is breathe, asshole.
Is that an Anand quote?
Do you mind saying
That's
this?
fine, yeah.
I am yeah, sometimes just in a class with him, you know, he can get pretty shiver.
Yeah.
And he's not fun to shout out a profanity to kind of wake you up. Breathe, asshole is my reason.
It just
Okay.
Breathe
or die is also one I've heard.
Wow.
Which, you know, that makes sense. Breathe or you are.
Yeah, that's
right?
true. It's true. Yeah.
Trying to think.
But do you think, you know, considering all things guru in the world?
I'm not meaning to give him a bad rap.
No,
he says the most beautiful things in the world.
Of course he does, yeah. I'm not saying that he... I'm just thinking, like, maybe he should retire now before he gets into the age where, you know how it all goes downhill for gurus eventually? And if you stick around too long, you don't know when to hang up the boots, you know? And you end up like Bikram. Or any of the other ones, all of the rest of them. Anyway, next topic. So what's the plans? You think you're going to go to India in September, huh? That's high hopes in COVID season. Does it feel strong? Who knows?
I should be able to look at the stars and tell you.
Yeah.
In my...
These ones on the screen.
Yeah, these ones in particular.
Well, this one says yes, this one says maybe not.
The one on my teeth say I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hope. That's the hope.
Be lining up for a vaccination? In a microchip?
No.
Not into it?
I've unplugged that matrix.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, I'm not into it either.
No. I know. A bit controversial.
If they come after me, I'll send them your way. You can tell them some astrology.
Look, I think the biggest thing that we can do in this time is physically connect to nature. That's really, yes, we're learning these cycles to evolve, but the particular lesson in this time and the particular sort of pathway to evolution now is getting in touch with nature, is learning how nature works. Right now, the cosmos or universe, God, whatever you call it, doesn't really want your spiritual evolution to come from going out. Yeah, it's get here, be here now, see what evolution actually looks like in the realm you are. Get your hands in the dirt, grow with nature, align, understand the seasons. And just like we speak about rishis being relevant in the world, established in being, then perform action, that is the truest lesson now. Yeah. Get your hands dirty, plant some seeds seriously.
Hear that, folks? Plant some seeds.
Yeah.
Real seeds.
Yeah.
Not just your greedy manifestation seeds.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cut the illusion. Cut that.
Yeah.
Practice and all is coming.
Yes.
That's it.
Be here now, as Ram Dass would say.
Yeah. And all is here.
Yes. Yes.
So I think people who are feeling pressure in this time, I need to create, I need to do, no, really, just be here. Just like I said with that moon, if you go deep, the creation comes. You don't need to act on that. It's here.
Just connect to it.
Connect. Yeah.
So can you tell me about your self-care routine? What do you do for like oils and Abhyangas and stuff? Do you do that kind of thing?
I'm pretty slack on the Abhyanga.
Mm-hmm.
I am.
There's something, you smell nice. So is there some kind of oil?
Yeah, just
what is it?
jasmine oil.
Jasmine oil.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not so big on the Abhyanga.
Mm-hmm.
Probably should be a little bit more.
Yeah, Vedic shame coming your way. That's how we waft shame.
Don't tell Dylan to say.
Shout out to Vital
Sesame
Beta.
oil on my crown.
Yeah.
Every morning, I do some kriya.
Mm-hmm.
Some breath work, some mantra. And then I meditate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I do puja every morning.
Every morning?
Every day.
Is it the
no,
Sattva puja?
It's the Sattva puja.
Yeah.
That ritual, that has been the biggest thing that's kind of like awoken the divinity in the everyday for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you switch on your altar and you see God and everything.
Yeah.
So I do that every day. And a big one is that I offer water to the sun every day while chanting Gayatri mantra.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge for me, in my chart.
Yeah.
As one thing, but that conversation with Surya every day, and the divine mother in the water.
Mm-hmm.
That's my self-care.
Beautiful. It's lovely. Yeah. All right. I think we'll stop then.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Unless you have anything else to add.
No.
Thank you for joining me.
Of course.